I'm already a millionaire in my mind. I don't see it yet, but I believe it now. In the same way a seed is called by its finished form, I'm accepting my divine inheritance as a child of God. I'm meant to have life and have it more abundantly. My treasure on earth shall correspond directly to the treasure in the heaven of my mind. Abundance is my birthright. Ashe, amen, and so it is. My name is Julian Gordon, and I'm author of Rich and Righteous: Spiritual Secrets to Mastering Money, Manifestation, and Your Mind. After becoming a multimillionaire through real estate investing, I was moved by God at the beginning of the pandemic to share my money mindset that allowed me to quit my job in January of 2009 at the bottom of the last recession and achieve full financial freedom. I own my mental real estate before I own any physical real estate. This book is like some of your favorites: Rich Dad, Poor Dad, As a Man Thinketh, Think and Grow Rich, and the Bible all in one. But the divine downloads and thoughts that are in here are 100% original and came for a 6-month period at the beginning of the pandemic. This book is normally $100 on Amazon if you went there right now, but I want to give you access to it for free by inviting you to our next reading group. Yes, the reading group is 100% free. Every weekday for 100 days straight, I'll be reading and discussing the 10 money commandments in the book that make money come to you in your life easily, more frequently, and abundantly. And it will take about 30 to 45 minutes as we read 3 to 5 pages per day until we finish the book and reprogram your mind around money. Why 100 days? Well, if you are 30 years old, you've lived for 10,950 days. And we have to deprogram and reprogram the negative, scarcity-based money mindset society has taught you. And I believe I can do that in just 1% of the time in about 100 days. I'm done with shelf help. You know, when you buy a book to change your life, but you never read it, it just sits on your bookshelf and collects a whole bunch of dust. We off that. When is the last time you had an author actually read their book to you out loud because they cared about you getting the information in your soul? I'm not just here to get this book in your hands. More importantly, I want to get it in your head and your heart, because that's where the real transformation occurs, in the conscious and the subconscious mind. As scripture says, be ye transformed by the renewing of your mind. This is not the type of book that you just read once. To renew the subconscious mind requires repetition over and over and over. So if you joined us last time, I encourage you to join us again. I myself have read this book over 10 times already. So click the link to join our next reading group, and when you sign up, I'm going to give you the first 2 chapters of the book for absolutely free on what is money and abundance is your birthright, so that you can start your journey to a more abundant life today.
What's good, everybody? What's good? What's good? This is your boy Thavian, tapping in with another day of the reading of the Rich and Righteous. And I'm so happy to announce that we have reached money commandment number 10. Let's go. Money commandment number 10, how the rich and righteous enjoy money. If you're new, you have just entered the room of the 100-day challenge of the reading of the Rich and Righteous, where we are reading Julian Gordon's book on how to reprogram our minds to attract more money. We have been very consistent and disciplined with this reading. We started January 1st. January 1st was the first day of the reading, and we challenged ourselves to complete this book in 100 days. And right now we're on day 58 of this reading. If you're new, welcome. Go ahead and click the link below so you can order you a book. This book is going to be valuable to you even when this challenge is over. And also like and subscribe to the YouTube page. When you like and subscribe to the YouTube page, you're going to get notifications and alerts on the upcoming readings that we're going to have. And you can also go back to the playlist on the YouTube page to catch up on the previous readings. I have it all set up for you. 57 days of content for you to tap in. Let it play. If you're in the gym, let it play. If you're driving to work, let it play. If you're driving home from work, let it play. As long as you're getting that word, that's what the key point is, getting this word during this challenge. For all my return readers, you already know what it is. This book has been great. This experience has been great. And we have been getting more than reprogramming for more money. So once again, make sure you like and subscribe to the YouTube page so you can go ahead and get those notifications and alerts on the few readings that we're going to have left. And so you can also catch up on the reading. There are 10 money commandments there. Each money commandment builds on the next. Each page builds on the next. Each day builds on the next. Each scripture builds on the next. So you definitely want to tap in and absorb those words of encouragement, words of reprogramming your mind to attract more money, discipline, and wealth. But without further ado, we're going to go ahead and get day 58 started. Today is all about forgiving ourselves of our debts. Forgiving ourselves of our debts. And Julian is going to go ahead and kick off the reading and get us started today. Day 58. Let's go.
Today's reading is forgive ourselves of our debt. Forgive us our debts as we also have forgiven our debtors. Matthew 6:12. So right here, straight out the gates, we realize that some translations say forgive us our debts. Some say forgive us our sins, right? So do you realize that we have the power to forgive sin? As we have also forgiven our debtors, or as we have also forgiven those who sinned against us. So you didn't realize that you have the power to forgive sin. It says it right here in the Lord's Prayer. No, am I tripping? Did I read that wrong? No, I read it correct. Okay, so let's get into it. We have covered several financial sins throughout the book so far. Again, sin simply means to miss the mark. Okay, to miss the mark. Okay, so instead of focusing on what we shouldn't do, we also want Again, sin simply means to miss the mark. Instead of focusing on what we shouldn't do, I also wrote them in the affirmative to clarify what we should do. Because we don't always want to just speak in the negative, what you don't do. Thou shalt not this, thou shalt not that. Okay. So some of the financial sins we've covered include thou shalt not make money your God. In other words, trust in God. Thou shalt not love money. In other words, steward and care for money. Thou shalt not save money. In other words, use it or it is useless. Thou shalt not spend money. SP hyphen. Let me remind us of that. Spend money, because when you spend money, you end money. We should circulate it and multiply it. Thou shalt not work for money. No, money works for you. Thou shalt not be in bad debt. No, only use good debt. Thou shalt not chase money. We should attract it. Thou shalt not compare or covet money. Know that there is more than enough. Thou shalt not obtain money through evil works or work you don't love. Instead, we do good works in the name of our mother, father, God's business. Okay? Thou shalt not give your pearls or money to swine, which is banks. We give to ideals, ideas, individuals, and investments doing good for God's work. So in Egypt, they have the 42 declarations of innocence. They're written positively, and they're also written as the negative confession. So one version is written as the don't do this, and the other version is written as do this. And so I just want to give you the option as you think about these quote unquote financial sins where we miss the mark, right? Or we miss the market too when it comes to money. I want you to have both. Okay. So we're at the top of page 385. Now that you are aware of the financial sins, you may become overcome with guilt for sinning or missing the mark with money. I want to invite you to release that because you cannot be held accountable for something you did not know. Many of you did not know a lot of these things prior to us starting this process. The young you is the older you because it is the most distant from who you are today. Let me slow that down. The young you, the you that was 20 years old, the you that was 25 years old is actually the older you because it is the most distant from who you are today. You were born again today. So the 20-year-old version of you is actually the oldest version of you. The 20-year-old version of you that got that first credit card and messed up their credit, that is actually the oldest version of you right now when it comes to adulthood and you actually having the power to choose from your conscious mind. Did y'all catch that? The young you is the older you because it is the most distant from who you are today. Who you were yesterday is closer than the younger you. Okay? And your new self that was reborn this morning is actually the youngest version of you. Are y'all with me? Did I lose some folks? Okay. So again, we are born again every single day. Not just when you get baptized in some water, you were born again and you have the choice and the power through the I am to choose a new identity every single day. Okay? In Luke 23:24, Jesus said, Father, forgive them, for they do not know what they are doing. Forgive your old selves, which is actually the younger you, right? The 18-year-old version of you who ran up credit cards, the 25-year-old you who went to graduate school with no plan, the 28-year-old who bought a single-family home that cost too much, the 30-year-old who spent $30,000 on a wedding, etc. Those are the older yous, even though your age was young. Is this making sense? Your age was younger, but they're actually the older you based on who you are now. For they did not know what they know, what you know today. So we have to forgive them because they didn't have the knowledge that you now have. Those were the old and financially immature versions of you. You are a new person now. If the old versions of you would have known what you know now, you would have thought differently, moved differently, and had a different experience with money. Your bank account does not represent your true worth. It represents who you were, not your worth. Everybody type that. My bank account represents who I was, not who I am today. It's who I was, not who I am today. Being what you sowed in the past, but your mind is being renewed right now, and you will plant new good seeds in renewed good subconscious soil that will bear good fruit in the near future. So all you're experiencing is the repercussions or the bad fruit, and hopefully some good fruit too, right? Of seeds that you planted in the past, right? Even though your mind is now planting good seeds for your future. For some people, ignorance is bliss and they would rather not know, but you are a seeker of wisdom regarding wealth. Now you know, and knowing is half the battle. The other half of the battle is aligning what you are doing with what you know to close the knowing doing gap. Knowing better, many people know better but don't do better. Closing the knowing doing gap is called integration. Everybody type that. Integration. Closing the knowing doing gap is called integration. Information alone does not change lives. It is the integration and implementation of the information that will change your life. The truth will not set you free. Acting on the truth will set you free. This is why I gave you the rituals workbook, so that you can actually integrate the teachings into your life, right? When you're filling out those worksheets, you're now personalizing this information into your life. Yesterday, I had you do the giving and receiving exercise where you looked at your top 3 relationships and looked at how much you were giving or what exactly you were giving and what you were receiving. So this is actually, this is the next level of work. Again, this work is not to-do list items. This work is inner work because we know that that's where the kingdom is. Okay, so second paragraph, page 386. One of the greatest hindrances to achieving wealth consciousness is unforgiveness. It is unforgiveness towards others, unforgiveness towards God, and most importantly, unforgiveness towards ourselves. Unforgiveness mentally locks us in the past. So even if we know the truth in the present moment, we don't take action in the present. Even though it is water under the bridge, you are still drowning in it. Today, you are reaping. You ever seen that video on social media where the kid is just going crazy? He's like thinking he's drowning, and the water is literally this deep. He's like, he thinks his life is over, and if he would just stand up, he realized he'd be okay. But some of us are drowning in the past in that way. We're still holding on to the rope in the way that he was holding on to the rope, realizing that we've outgrown that, and if we just stood up, right, we'd be perfectly fine. This is what it means to forgive ourselves. Today, you are reaping what the old you sowed. Your current reality is the energetic frequency you feel today, but it is a result of your past mentality. It is not a reflection of who you are today. From an energetic standpoint, rather than be angry at the old you, which some people call the younger version of themselves, rather than be mad at the old you for what it did or didn't do, forgive it and channel all of your energy towards planting good seeds today. Right? The kingdom of heaven is in your midst. It is here and now. And so this is the only moment that we have choice in. We don't have choice in the past. We don't have choice in the future. And the best way to predict the future is to create it. So we must create the future in the now, right? It takes time for your material experience to catch up to your mental experience of life, right? Most of us, listen, you hear that? It takes time for your material experience to catch up to your mental experience. So during Read Rich and Righteous, we have accelerated the growth of our mental experience of money, okay? And now we are waiting, and some of you, because of your consistency, are already having material manifestations as a result of the renewing of your mind. If you are type me, if you've had good fruit come from the renewing of your mind in this process. And we're going to get some of those testimonies on at graduation. And for those of you who can't attend, I'll have you send them in via video. Okay. So again, it takes time in the physical realm for your material experience to catch up to your mental experience of life. Listen to this. Most of us would not be able to handle instant manifestation. And here's why. I know you think that's a superpower, but here's why most of us would not be able to handle it. Because it would include all of our good thoughts and our bad thoughts. So your bad thoughts that you've had would also manifest as quickly as your good thoughts. And many of you are not ready for that. You're not ready for that. And so we're actually grateful that there's a little bit of a time gap between the thought and the thing so that we can actually choose if we really want that thing. If we give our light or attention to old seeds, they will continue to bear bad fruit. As a son of God, S-U-N, your light, energy, and attention must shine on the good seeds you are planting today that you want to manifest soon. The American dream is really a nightmare for most Americans. Modern day slavery is mental and monetary. The American dream says go to college. The result is a 10-cent diploma, no real skills, and a 6 figures of student debt. The American dream says get a good job. The result is you build a multi-million-dollar asset for someone else while you get bi-weekly rations that are taxed at a higher rate than any other type of income because it's called ordinary income. The American dream says buy a single-family house. The result is you end up buying yourself and your banker a home with all of the interest, and you feel trapped for 30 years because you're afraid of missing a mortgage payment. The etymology, you want to know what's even crazier from a psychological standpoint, family? I didn't put this in the book, but listen to this. Some of y'all bought single family homes to be close to the plantation that you were trying to escape. Some of you bought homes to be close to the plantation that you were trying to escape. Because if Master needs you at 7 a.m., you want to be there right away. You don't want to disappoint Master, so I'm going to live real close to the plantation. How crazy is that? Psychologically, isn't that a little weird? Isn't that a little weird? As if you were even going to be there for 40 years or a long period of time, right? You almost tricked yourself into being there by basing your entire life around that entity. And we say corporations are loyal. No, they're not. They'll fire you tomorrow and replace you the next day. Okay? So the result is you end up buying yourself and your banker a home with all of the interest you pay, and you feel trapped for 30 years because you're afraid of missing a mortgage payment. The etymology of the word mortgage, if you take mort hyphen gauge, literally means a death pledge. Right? Mort as a mortician or mortuary, right? Death. The word mortgage literally means death pledge. The government gets paid off of every part of the American dream they program you to follow. Student debt is debt to the government, right? Most mortgages are government backed, and the ordinary income is most taxed. So we were sold a nightmare branded as a dream. Student loans, a single income, and a single family home are debt bondage, but they have been branded as the path to freedom. Debt is a result of seeking to reap before or more than you've sown. Debt is the result of seeking to reap before or more than you've actually sown. You really, really want that, right? And so you haven't sown enough seed and bear enough fruit to actually get that. So to close the gap, you participate in debt. The debits and credits will always balance out at some point. Outwardly, you may have resentment towards your college, Sally Mae, credit card companies, corporations, churches, the banks, medical companies, your landlord, or the government. But when you recognize that it was you who accepted these programs and signed every document, then the resentment turns inwardly towards self. But what does this chapter talk about? Forgive ourselves of our own debts. Matthew 6:12 says, forgive us our debts as we have also forgiven our debtors, right? We can't expect to be forgiven if we are still unforgiving. The hardest people to be forgiven, to to recognize that they are being forgiven is those who are still unforgiving of others. They don't think that other people have the capacity to forgive, right? Because they don't have the capacity to forgive yet. It is harder to forgive ourselves than it is to forgive others because it is easier to blame others than it is to blame ourselves. It is harder to forgive ourselves than it is to forgive others because it is easier to blame others than it is to blame ourselves. If we don't think we sin or miss the mark and that it is everyone else's fault, then we don't see a need to forgive ourselves. Financial forgiveness means acknowledging your role in manifesting what you are experiencing without blame, accepting the situation as it is, releasing yourself from the past, and affirming that your financial future will be abundant anyways, regardless of what happened. To secure the bag financially, you have to let go of all the emotional baggage you have a tight grip on due to unforgiveness. Whether it was a predatory mortgage lender, Sally Mae, a bad business deal, a pyramid scheme, theft, mistreatment by an employer, or a divorce that wreaked financial havoc on your life, let it go. You can't look back and still move forward at the same time. When you look back as Lot's wife did, you will turn into a pillar of salt, which means that you are mummified. They use salt to mummify bodies, right? So you turn into a pillar of salt and you actually get stuck in the past. Your body is preserved, but your soul is stuck in the past. You must empty your memory bank, okay? You want to fill your bank account? You must empty your memory bank of negative transgressions to open your monetary bank to positive transactions. You must empty your memory bank of negative transgressions to open your monetary bank to positive transactions. Consider yourself bankrupt. Yes, you heard me correctly. Consider yourself bankrupt. I am bankrupt of anger. I am bankrupt of resentment. I am bankrupt of regret. I am bankrupt of unforgiveness. Everybody choose one. What are you going to be bankrupt of? Right? I'm not going to be bankrupt of money, but I'm going to be bankrupt of unforgiveness. I'm going to be bankrupt of regret. There will be no regret in my life. There will be no unforgiveness in my life. There will be no anger in my life. There will be no resentment in my life. I am bankrupt of those negative qualities. Wipe the books clean. Okay? We are officially dissolving your LLC, which is your limited lack-based consciousness. We are dissolving your LLC, which is your limiting lack-based consciousness. That entity is gone. We are almost at the end of this journey, and that limiting lack-based consciousness is gone. We've dissolved that company. It serves no more purpose in our lives. In John 5:8, Jesus commands the invalid to pick up your mat and walk. The invalid, okay? Listen, the invalid is an allegory for an invalid thought you have been resting on, otherwise known as an excuse or an X-cause. Everybody type X-cause. That's what an excuse is. It's when you externalize the cause outside of yourself. This is happening to me because something outside of myself, not realizing that I am the cause that produces effects. You disempowered yourself anytime you use an excuse because you're creating an X cause. I can't be happy unless this entity, this individual changes. This is why we always end our day with remembering that you are God, lowercase g, your first cause in your life, and no individual, institution, or situation outside of yourself has more power over you than you. That is a life of no excuses or X causes. When it comes to money, I like to say pick up your mat and walk. Complaining about the past you despise will not create the future you desire. Complaining about the past you despise will not create the future you desire. In fact, if we go back to your movie script, it will only recreate the script if that is where your attention is going to. Chapter 1 will look like chapter 3, which will look like chapter 5, and it will keep repeating the same story over and over and over again. Why? Because you keep repeating the same story over and over and over again. The same story that you despise keeps repeating over and over because you keep repeating it with your mouth. Keep repeating it with your mouth over and over again. Are y'all catching me? Stop talking about it. Shut up. You know, we had that week where we talking about money commandment, I think number 405, how the rich and righteous speak about money. And I told y'all for half that week, shut up. Your word shall never return void. Some of you be better off if you just stop talking. Okay? Stop repeating the same negative story over and over again so that it does not keep repeating over and over again in your life. If you remove should and supposed to from your vocabulary, you would instantly be freed of a lot of the unforgiveness, false expectations, judgment, frustration, and pain. My mom should have done this. My dad should have done this. My employer should have done this. My wife should have done this. Should and supposed to are the new S words. You thought SHIT was the S word? No. Should and supposed to. Okay? Use them sparingly. If you need someone else to be or do something for you to be happy, you may be waiting a very long time. Catch yourself saying, my parents were supposed to. He should. She should have. They are supposed to. You should have. My spouse is supposed to. My boss should. The government's supposed to. You can even monitor anytime you say I should or I'm supposed to, because oftentimes it is a program that was installed to override your true self. I need you to release the shoulds and the supposed tos. There are no laws to living that we've all collectively agreed on. In one person's house, it's okay to wear your shoes, and in another person's house, it's not. Projecting your way of living on someone else will only frustrate you because you can't control anyone else. Accept people as they are. I know there are likely individuals and institutions that have done you wrong. But when you take 100% accountability for your own life, which is what this financial philosophy suggests, there is no one to blame or forgive. Even if they are 100% responsible for your past, you are still 100% responsible for your future. This does not mean disregard accountability for wrongdoing, but we must stand in our power. And the only thing that we control is ourselves. How are we going to control someone else when we can barely control our own action? How many of your New Year's resolutions did you accomplish? You've been wanting to go to the gym 10 years straight. You can't even control your own actions, and now you're trying to control somebody else? Make that make sense, please. Please. Okay? Are y'all with me? I know I'm coming hard, but we have to release these expectations because a lot of the unforgiveness that we have in our lives because we think somebody was supposed to do something, should have done something. And there's no rule book that said anything like that. You didn't come to an agreement. It is psychotic to want everyone else to change while you stay the same. It seems easier to get someone else to change than it is to change yourself, but it is not. I'm not waiting for someone else to change to have my heaven on earth. The only man that matters when it comes to manifestation is you. The only man that matters when it comes to manifestation is you. No shame, no blame. There is no shame in where you are except staying there. There is no shame in where you are in your financial life except you staying there. Waiting for this entity to forgive your student loans, waiting for them to do that, waiting for them to do that, and then none of them do that, and guess what? You still at square one. And blaming others for where you are diminishes the power in you. Blaming is saying that another man born of flesh, just like me, has power over my life. If you started out behind because someone or something did you wrong, you can either run your mouth or run in the direction of your dreams. You can only choose one. When's the last time you saw a marathon runner just talking? When they are running a marathon, their lips are tight and they are focused on the direction that they are going. You never see a marathon runner running their mouth. So you have an option, either run your mouth or run in the direction of your dreams. Which one is it going to be? When you tap into the God in you that is also in every man, you realize that you can be, do, and have whatever you want in life, despite where you started and what you've been through. Forgive us our debtors. Greatest debtor, the greatest sinner against ourselves is ourselves. We have to forgive ourselves. We have to forgive everyone who did us wrong, who didn't show up in the way that we expected them to, the way we think they should have, the way we think they were supposed to. We have to forgive. It's in the past. It's in the past. We either run our mouth about it or we run in the direction of our dreams. You keep talking about that situation, and this is why it keeps repeating in your life, because you're giving it attention and energy. Chapter 1 looks like chapter 3, which looks like chapter 5. Why is the same story happening over and over? Because you keep repeating it. You got to forgive, family. You got to forgive all the mistakes that your older self, which by age is your younger self, made. Forgive them. Forgive the 20-year-old version of you, the 25-year-old version of you, the 30-year-old. Forgive them. Forgive them. They didn't know. They didn't have rich and righteous. They don't know what you know now. And if they would have known what you know now, then they wouldn't have made those choices. So forgive them, family. You have the power to do that. It's not just forgiving other people. You're also forgiving the older versions of yourself, because they contributed to the life that you're living right now, right? They helped you get to where you are. And you might have never stumbled across this knowledge and this information had they not made a mistake. Because sometimes mistakes are what it takes to actually get us to wake up, right? Sometimes we have to burn our hand on the stove to start to recognize how heat works and how to cook. But now that we're at the end of the book, you starting to cook, family. You starting to cook. We got to forgive ourselves. All the financial mistakes that you made along your life. Lisa, I didn't know. Now I know. I wouldn't make the same choice today. And then we just start from a blank slate. We dissolve that limiting, lack-based consciousness. We dissolve that LLC. It's done. It serves no purpose in our lives anymore. It is abundance from here on out. I am come that they might have life and have it more abundantly.
All right. This concludes day 58. Day 58 is officially in the books. What are your takeaways? To all my new readers, I hope you enjoyed today's reading. I know I did. For my takeaways, I want to reflect on some of the financial sins that we've covered in the past readings, and Julian kind of highlighted those at the beginning of the reading. All right, some of the financial sins that we need to be aware of. Thou shalt not make money your God. You must trust in God. Thou shalt not love money. You must become a good steward of money. Steward means managing. Thou shalt not save money. We want to use it because money is useless when it's not being used. Thou shalt not spend money. We want to circulate the money and multiply it. Thou shalt not work for money. Money works for you. Thou shalt not be in bad debt. Only use good debt, like real estate. Real estate is good debt because it pays for itself. Thou shalt not chase money. We want to attract money. Attract money. Thou shalt not compare or covet money. Know that there is more than enough. There's plenty of money out there circulating. There's more than enough. Do not covet money. Thou shalt not obtain money through evil works or work you don't love. Do good work in the name of your mother, father. Thou shalt not obtain money through evil works. That means you should be making money based on your purpose. Thou shalt not give pearls, which is your money, to swine, which is the banks. Instead, you want to give your money to good ideals, ideas, and individuals and investments that's going to be doing God's work. Those are my takeaways for today. What are your takeaways? Make sure you comment in the description section, in the comment section. And all my new people, make sure you click the link below and grab that book, man. Go ahead and get that book. You're going to need that book. Even when this reading is over, you always want to revert back to the book. Also, like and subscribe to the YouTube page so you can get those notifications and alerts on the future readings that we may have. And also, there's a playlist on the YouTube page. When you don't have time to sit down and read, click that playlist, man. Day 1 all the way up to day 58. Get the word. As you can see, today's reading was a valuable reading, but we have all those money commandments that you need to go to. Ask, attract, feel, think. You're going to need all those money commandments in your life to move forward. And we will see you on the next reading. We're in our last money commandment number 10, how the rich and righteous enjoy money. Looking forward to seeing you guys on the next read. We only have a few days left. We have been doing great. We have definitely beat our timeline of 100 days because of our consistency and discipline. Day 58 officially in the books. Salute.